will get access to Windflex. If you don't already have this, fire me an email afterwards, and I'll get you the instructions on how to go about downloading the Windflex web software system. I know a lot of you maybe are familiar with Windflex, but it is, again, every carrier that we represent is going to be available on the Windflex web platform. So as you can see on my screen here, we just go ahead and we log in. Let me just get logged in here. So you come to the next screen, and then all you're going to do is click where it says Start Windflex Web. Perfect. Okay. So as you can see from right here, it has a list. It lists all the companies, all the way from American General, Allianz, Banner, all the way down, everything's in alphabetical order, all the way down to Zurich. Again, like I said, a majority of the companies that we work with subscribe to Windflex. Not everyone, but I'd say 90 to 95% of them subscribe to, like I said, to the Windflex software system. As I mentioned at the top of the call, this is a very good program for running no-lapse guaranteed products because there's not a lot of different manipulation and things that you need to do with these types of products. So, for example, we're going to, as we look at this, so we're just going to actually look at Genworth. We'll take a look at their no-lapse guaranteed product called the GenGuard, and we'll run through an example there. And no matter what carrier that you look at, so as you can see, I clicked on Genworth, and it's going to pull up all their products that are available. It would do the same if we went to John Hancock, Allianz, any carrier. So everything's right there. The nice thing about the web-based program is you don't have to ever worry about updating your software or anything. You know that when you log in, under your login, you're going to get the most current rates that carrier has. They just upload them automatically to the Windflex system. So for this example, again, like I said, we're going to look at the GenGuard product. So you select your carrier, you select your product, and then you just click the Create Client button. And that's going to take us to our inputs page. And you can see at the top here, here's all the different tabs of where we can put all our information into that's going to generate our NAIC compliant illustration, right? We're all familiar with our illustrations. So we'll just do a generic one here. So we'll do valued clients. I can't spell today. There we go. And we'll just do a male. We'll leave them at 45. We'll do preferred. And I'm in the Florida office, so we'll go Florida. One thing too is if you ever click like here where it says age or rate class, some of those things. So for example, if I got my cursor on age, if you look down here at the very bottom, it'll give you what the range is, what the issue ages are. So this particular product, eligible age 0 through 80, except in the state of Oregon, it's 18 to 80. If you're ever wondering about anything on a product, if you click on that tab, it's always going to give you that information down below here. So our next tab we're going to click on is we're going to go to projection type. So this is right, our meat and potatoes. What are we really solving for? What are we looking to accomplish? We want to solve for, on this particular case, let's solve for our actual face amount. So we know that this particular client, we know that he or she can pay $5,000 annually is what they want to do. So we're going to do, I'm going to show you how to do two solves on here. We'll solve for face, and then we'll also solve for a death benefit. So if we do a $5,000 premium, and we want to do the length of the guarantee, and we want it for life, and with this particular product, you can actually dial it down. So if you just wanted to guarantee it, as you can see here, 65, 80, 90, 110. But we'll, this one we'll go all the way out through. If you had a lump sum, you put that in there. So then our next tab is going to be our policy options. So we've already said that we're doing annual, right? We said we're going to put $5,000 in. That's what they can afford. We want to see how much death benefit we can purchase for that amount. So we don't have any 1035. If you did, we would enter that in here. Our next tab is going to be riders. If you were to put in your riders, and this is going to be, again, the same for any of the carriers that you're going to run through on the Windflex system. If you had any riders, you can click there. and an accidental death. We won't add any there. Home office, there's nothing. And then agent information, this is where you would put your information in.
We're having trouble hearing you.
Are you? Is that any better? Can you hear me, Matt? Can you hear me, Matt? Can you hear nothing, Matt? It's breaking up. Okay, let me check something else here. I can hear you. Okay. Well, I apologize for that. I'm not sure what happened there, but I will keep going and apologize. So on the agent tab here, you would just enter your information in, or if we run any quotes for you, chances are I probably have you saved here. So for this particular one, I'll just use Mr. John Solomon on this one, and just hit select. We'll update it on here. And thanks for everybody. I'm getting the things that like, we can hear you. You're breaking up. You're breaking up. All right, perfect. So then you enter that agent information in, and then all you would do from there, this blue button that says calculate. And then it's going to bring up it usually doesn't take too long for it to run. As you can see, it'll pull everything up here. It'll also give you a message if you have any errors on the actual illustration. So all you would do up here where you can see the little PDF button, if you just click on that, and then here's our illustration, right? So then we're just going to scroll down, make sure that we have everything in that we want. So this one, our $5,000 annually bought us a little over $500,000, almost $600,000 in death benefit, and I'll make sure it runs out all the way through to 120. Always check that, make sure you're good there. And that is as simple as running the that type of illustration. So if we wanted to just go back, so we click out of our illustration, we go back and click edit. Let's just say, for example, that we knew what face amount that we needed. Let's say that we needed $1 million policy. So we're going to go back. In, and rather than doing a level face solve, we're going to solve for premium. And so all we're going to do differently here is we're just going to specify our face amount. And I said we wanted $1 million. And everything else is going to default. So we have all of our information in there that's already there. And then all we would do again is hit calculate. And then I'll pull up all of our information again. And what's really neat about the Windflex system too is, as I showed you at the top of the call, where we have all the different carriers in there. So say you want to look at multiple carriers. We want to look at Genworth, American General, Banner, any carrier under there. What will happen then is, now that we've entered all the information, and I'll show you here once this one is done running, once we've entered all that information and we've generated an actual illustration, we can just go back and change the actual product. So we have here again, we'll click on this. So now that we've solved for $1 million face amount here, and our premium is $8,400. And again, anytime I run any of these, just to make sure there's no errors, I always go and make sure that it's going all the way to my age 120 here. So we know that it's solved properly the way that we told the software to do it for us. So like I said, what's really neat though too is if we want to look at other carriers and stuff, we've already input our information. So we want to look at we want to look and see how's Protective stack up. So that was $8,400. So we would just come down. We're going to click on Protected Life, and we know that the name of their product is the Pro-Life Classic, but not that one. Let's see, the custom choice. There it is, the custom choice, excuse me. So you would just, all you do is if you want to change products, you just hit Update Client, and then you can see it takes all your same information and it puts it all in here. So, and then all you would do again is just hit Calculate, and then now it's going to show you the information for that protective policy as well. So again, you can do that with all the different carriers. So if you want to just quick go through and see, about who's the best, again, we're here to help you with that as well. But if you're, sitting at a computer at midnight running through some things and looking at some different quotes, this is a very, very, very good tool to look at some of that stuff. Again, you can do it with the IUL stuff. Like I'll look at Allianz here real quick, and Matt's going to actually take us through Allianz. What happens though is with the IUL products, you're limited on some of the things that you can do with showing distributions. If you want to start and stop distributions, like if you're doing a college funding case, which Matt's going to run us through, Windflex has some limitations on some of those things. If you're just doing a straight, max fund policy, minimum death benefit, absolutely you can use Windflex for that. If you're trying to do anything more than that, again, showing any sort of distributions going from option B to option A, you try to utilize the carrier standalone software. So, all right. So with that being said, I want to kind of go into an actual standalone software, one being North American, and then we'll jump into the Allianz. North American has a pretty simple standalone software, as does Allianz. I'm sure some of you are probably familiar with North Americans. Couple things with them. So you can see here under, let me see if I can make it big. No, this is as big as it gets. So if it's a little small, I apologize. But so you see right in the upper left-hand corner here, you're always going to go and do your new, and it's going to pop up right here, and it's going to kind of clear out all your screens. If you go plan type universal life, it's going to pull up their no lapse products, the custom guarantee, the term GUL, the index, the builder, the guarantee builder, the rapid builder, their survivorship product. For this sake of the example, we're going to just go ahead and look at the builder product. Again, you can put in, the client name. So we'll do, let's put myself in here. We'll just leave it age 45 just to do apples to apples, because I know Matt's going to run a 45-year-old. And so we'll do a male again. If you are to table rate anybody, if you were to put somebody at a standard, as you can see, the table rating will then, that box will not be grayed out anymore, and then that would be where you'd add any table ratings, your flat X's or anything like that. So we'll go ahead and make myself preferred again, and then your state of issue. And then, so if you ever want to add agents in, if you hit that load button, this screen is going to pop up. And then it'll save anything. It'll always default to whatever you have in there as your agent. The last agent I ran and a thing for was in there, so I will take him out and I'll just put it as default agent. So then we move over to our right-hand side here. Our death benefit, whether we're going to go level, guideline premium test, CVAT, do we have a 1035 exchange, what's our premium mode, our premium type, all those things. So, for example, on this one, I just want to do we're going to max fund this, and we're going to solve for minimum face, maximum cash that we can get out at retirement. So we've got a 45-year-old male here. We want to start showing income at age 60. He's going to fund it till 65, so we want to show income at age 66. So what we're going to do here is, we're going to work and say what can Greg afford to put in. So we'll just use a round number of $10,000. So we put that in there. We got our $10,000, and we know that we said we're going to pay it for 20 years, right? So we can do it. You can either do it through age or through years. So if it goes 10,000, we're going to pay to age 65. So we can have that. One of the things too, always on this button, this premium allocation, and then this window is going to pop up. Here's all the different allocations that the North American Builder product offers. Now you got your annual point-to-point, your monthly point-to-point, your daily average, and here's what the current illustrated rates are right here. It's always going to default to the annual point-to-point unless you change that as your whatever your preferences are. But you can see right here the illustrated rate is 8.2. I think that's a little high. I like to illustrate at 7 or 7.5. So we'll go 7.5 on this particular case. So I'm going to change that. So now we're locked in at 7.5. And then also, when running an IUL for distribution, again, always run, look at it both ways, but I prefer to run it increasing to maximize our cash flow in those years that we're taking distribution. So on this particular software, we would just click increasing, and then we know that when we start taking distributions that we want to level it off, right? So we want to change it. So this will come up, and we have our death benefit options tab. So in year 21, at age 66, when I start taking money out of this, I want to change it to level. So we just go ahead and click OK there, and that's all good. Don't worry about it. Just defaults as $250,000. I'm going to show you the next tab of how that doesn't matter right now, right? Because we know that we're specifying our premium, and we're going to solve for our minimum death benefit max cash. So all we need to do next is click on our Solve tab. Then you can see over here on the top left again, it's highlighted, said no solve selected, and then we can do premium, death benefit, or withdrawal / loans. So I'm going to solve for death benefit, right? I said that I wanted to do a minimum death benefit, max withdrawal loan. So that's now what this software is going to solve for me. So from there, what we'll do is we want to go in here and see all this stuff is grayed out. We know our death benefit is being solved for. Specified premium is showing $10,000. We're going to pay till age 65. Our payment mode is annual. We have no 1035 money that we're putting in. So then we go over here in our bottom right-hand corner, and it's always going to default to a loan, right? We want to take a loan, not a withdrawal. I think I was actually saying withdrawal, so that was just the wrong vernacular, so I apologize for that. And then, so here you can see what the current variable interest rate is, illustrating at 5.8. And here's the allowable range, 5.8 to 6. So you could change that. So all we're going to do here is we're going to say, okay, we want to take our first loan at what age? And I said, I want to take it at age 66, and we're just going to run all the way out through age 100. So from there, you've entered all your information in, right? We've put our premium in, we have our solve, and we know when we want distributions to come out. So from there, see the very top here where it says View. Just click the View button, and then now it's going to calculate everything that we have specified for the illustration. Of course, it pops up on my other screen, so let me grab this and pull it over here for you guys. All right, so here we have our nice 30-some page illustration, and so we'll go through it again. I'm concerned with the ledger page. That's where I want to go. So I'm going to click over until I get to that. All right, so here we go. Year one, right, 10,000. You can see we got our non-guaranteed at 7.5. North American also illustrates a midpoint. In this case, since it's 5.5, and that midpoint will always illustrate to whatever you have the illustrated rate at. If we would have left it at 8.2, it would be higher than 5.5. I think it'd probably be closer to 6.1. So if we scroll down to the next page, we can see here in year 21, age 66, it's going to start showing my distribution coming out. At 47,000 again, and also notice that we're increasing, and then that death benefit is going to start leveling off at that time. There's two schools of thought on this as far as showing distribution coming out. Some agents really like to do it to just show the power of using life insurance as another retirement supplement. I've worked with a lot of agents that have been in the business for many, many years. Some of the guys that are, getting close to retirement. Those are the guys that really don't like to show distribution, and the reason why, and I agree with them, they've had so many clients now that have had policies set up like this where all of a sudden they're starting to get checks kicked out to them, $40,000, $40,000, and they go and talk to them and say, well, Joe, why would you do with that $40,000? Did you buy anything with it? Did you, he's like, well, now it's sitting in my checking account. Well, what are you earning in your checking account on it? So, some of those guys will say, unless you need the money on a policy, just take it when you need it, and go buy your boat, go buy your car, rather than the insurance company sending you a check and then you put in your checking account and earn 0.5%. So that's on there. But again, that's how you're going to run those and pull and show the distribution on there. So what I want to do now is I'm going to go back here. So I don't want to keep everybody too terribly long. Matt, are you got your stuff? Are you back on with us? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. I'm going to actually give, and we'll go over some questions, but basic stuff is that's pretty much how to run just those no lapse products, or excuse me, IUL products. I'm losing my mind here. If you wanted to shut and start off distribution and stuff, you can do that, and Matt's going to show some college funding stuff with that. It's very similar on the North American software system as it is on Allianz. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to turn it over to Matt here so we can take a look at some Allianz stuff. So Matt, there you go, my friend.
All right. So Greg, which screen am I showing? Am I showing the Allianz login?
Yep.
Okay. Or the home page,
yep.
rather?
Yes,
so
sir.
What you guys are looking at is the Allianz homepage, and I'm just going to really quickly show you where to go to actually find their software. You can download it, but I would encourage you to run it straight off of their website, unlike the North American, and it's really pretty simple. You'll log in, and you'll see you got your profile, and you'll know that it's you. And once you get in there, you'll just go Sales Tools, Point of Sale. You'll click on Illustrations, and this page will pop up. And if you prefer to download the software, you certainly can. This is where you would do it. But again, I would recommend running the web-based version. Everything's updated. The files that you will put on your computer do not update automatically. So try and run the web version if you can. You'll click that, and it'll launch their software. Let me pull that over. So it looks a little bit different than North American, but if you've ever run Life of the Southwest, uses a similar system like this. I believe Minnesota Life may now too. But what I'll do for you is I'm going to run through 3 real quick examples. The first one is going to be essentially what Greg just did, showing a 45-year-old doing some supplemental retirement income. So this is where you will put your information in. Once you do it one time, you can save it, and it'll auto-populate every time. But the way you're going to navigate through this is this left-hand kind of menu page here. So you'll just choose your state. If we're running a single life, it's going to be the Life Pro product. And that will launch our illustration software. And from here, it's really simple. Top left, again, this is just going to be your kind of menu. If you don't know where to go, just go through these one by one, and you'll get to the point where you're on the quick view page and you're ready to go. But again, we'll just leave it as a valued client, male, 45, and we'll run preferred just to kind of match what Greg did. And then we'll move over to our death benefit page, so you'll just click here. And you'll notice that this software is set up a little bit different than North American. Everything is kind of on the same page. There's not a bunch of tabs and solving. All the solving is done by these drop-down boxes and the little radio buttons. So we're going to run a minimum face, maximum accumulation. Whenever you're talking about income and distributions, more than likely you're going to be using this min face max accumulation. This is probably going to be clicked 90% of the time, unless you know that you need a specific death benefit. If that is the case, you'll go other, and just type it in. But we're going to do a minimum face, maximum accumulation. And again, as Greg mentioned, in order to squeeze out as much as possible from this, we're going to run an increasing death benefit. And this is, whenever you see these from and through, this is year. If you put A in front of it, that means age 99, and you're always going to have an M somewhere in here. That stands for maturity. So in this example, if we're taking income out at 66 and we're 45, we're going to do 20 years, and then in the 21st year, again, we're switching back to level. That's just kind of your best practice there. And we'll kind of mirror what Greg did. We're going to drop down to this premium box, and we'll just do $10,000 annually, and we're going to do it for 20 years. So from 1 through 20. And your disbursements is right below that, so you can just see you're just kind of going one by one box at a time. And here we're just going to solve for an income stream. We want it to be loans. We're going to start it in the 21st year, and we'll run it out through maturity. This software, just like North American, will run it out to 120. You're always going to have to choose your loan allocation, and for this example, we're going to choose a participating loan. Now, this is similar on North American, where Greg was showing you, you have a window of 5.8 to 6%. In the Allianz software, the loan rate is fixed at 5%. So all you have to do to select that loan rate or that loan provision is just 100% participating. That's your 5% fixed participating loan. So in terms of the inputs, we're essentially done. You're never really going to touch this loan repayment box. You're never really going to touch this solve box. You're really just doing disbursements, premiums, and death benefit. From here, you can choose riders if you want to. Again, you can just kind of go one by one, client, death benefit, riders. If you want any riders, this is where you would add them. Let's go ahead and drop down, though, to our index allocation. Much like North American, here are the different options that you can choose from. It's not necessarily going to change the actual illustration, but I will show you this. Let's say that you are going to show 100% of your money in the fixed account. It is going to cap what you can illustrate at. The fixed account's a bad example. Let's do the monthly average. So if you go 100% in the monthly average, it's going to tell you the most that you can illustrate is 7.32%. And it's going to do that really for every index. Now, I know Greg ran at 7.5. You can see that this has a historical of 10.07. They'll never let you show more than 8.5, but just for continuity's sake, we'll show 7.5. Keep in mind, the Allianz product doesn't have a bonus in the 11th year like the North American product does, so the numbers should look a little bit different. But once you've got that in, quick view is kind of your snapshot, where it's going to show you all your values. And yes, we want the increase to avoid a MEC. And there you go. $10,000 going in, $41,000 coming out. And again, you can see the death benefit is increasing up until the point that you start taking money out of the contract. And then it's level, but it's collateralized due to the income that you're taking out. So in my opinion, the Allianz software is a little bit easier. Everything kind of flows well. But I want to show you real quick, if we've got time, I'm going to show you maybe a different scenario. Say that instead of somebody having $10,000 a year or $1,000 a month that they can put into a contract, what if they've got $250,000 in CD money, kind of sitting on the sidelines, non-qualified? A really slick feature of this specific product and this software is called this premium deposit fund. The only time you're going to use this premium deposit fund is if you have a lump sum that you want to put in up front. So we'll say that we've got a lump sum deposit. Actually, we're going to do annual level premium. So our lump sum amount, because we're solving for, let's say our lump sum is $250,000, and we want to get that $250,000 into this contract in 5 years. It's going to take it and credit you interest on what's not in the contract yet and automatically pay that premium. So you don't have to go back to the client every year and make sure that they pay their, $40,000 premium. It all comes in at once. They get a little bit of additional interest, and you don't have to worry about collecting payments. It's going to automatically gray out your solve box, and that's just a nice way. You'll have to change these parameters on this one. Since we're putting in so much money, it probably doesn't matter if it's increasing or not, but I'll just really quickly show you what it'll look like. 250 divided by 5 is 50, but there's a little bit additional interest there, so $52,000 goes in over 5 years. It's not a mech. You got money coming out. So that's just a nice way to take something like CD money and funnel it into this policy, but do it all at once. I'm going to show you one more scenario, and this time we'll switch it up. We're going to go maybe college funding and show you kind of how this can apply and what it can look like. So let's drop this down to, say, maybe a 40-year-old female. She's got one child. She's preferred. And let's say that her daughter is 3 years old, going to college in 15 years. So we're going to get rid of this premium deposit fund. So similar circumstances, we're going to run an increasing death benefit, although this time we know that we're going to take out distributions for college in the 15th year. So we're going to run increasing for 14 years and then drop it off to level in the 15th year when the child goes into college. Again, we've got the minimum face checked. And let's assume that she's got $1,000 a month that she's contributing for her own retirement, and maybe an additional $300 a month that she's putting into something like a 529 plan, or she's setting it aside for college. And she wants to look at what this could do if she combines those two figures into an IUL and kind of kills two birds with one stone. So $1,000 for herself, $300 for college, so we'll put $1,300 monthly. And we're going to do that for 14 years. And essentially, we've got an income stream coming out, but we know we only need income for 4 years. So we'll start in year 15, 16, 17, 18. So that's 4 years of distributions. And I'm solving for the income. So this is going to give me the most amount of money that I can take out for those 4 years of college. And we're going to get that number and then kind of work backwards. So we'll just go, we've already got our index allocation. We're already showing 7.5. So we're going to go quick view. Again, yes, we want to recalculate to avoid the MEC. And when you do that, sometimes it takes a little while, but you'll notice last time I did it, the numbers went from 36 to 40-something. So you want to wait for it, let it think. This time it didn't change. But okay, so what this is telling us is if we pay $1,300 a month, we could take out, assuming we get 7.5%, we could take out $86,000 a year for 4 years for college. Now, I don't think that the 3-year-old daughter is going to need quite that much. So let's go back to our death benefit and funding page, but we know that we can go up to 86. So we're going to go back here, and let's assume that we know she doesn't need 86, but maybe she needs 50,000. So we're going to specify how much is coming out for those 4 years, and we're going to say we want $50,000 out for those 4 years. But we're also doing this for mom's retirement. So we want to see distributions for her own retirement, so we're going to add a row. And on this one, we're going to solve. So we want the biggest income stream that we can take after we've taken out this $50,000. What's the most that mom can get out? So solve for mom's maximum income. And let's say that she waits until age 70 to take that out. So we're going to put in here age 69, which is really going to be age 70. It's 1 year behind. And then we'll go ahead and solve and see what we get. So you'll notice here $50,000 coming out. That's going to be for college. And then mom also gets $71,000 a year for the rest of her life, all the way out to age 120. Now, the reason that I like this play is because any other vehicle, you know, if daughter needs in this case, $200,000 for school, if you take that $200,000 out of any vehicle, it's gone. You're no longer retaining the interest earning power of that money. If you take it out of your 529 or out of your savings account, you've paid it to the school, it's gone. In this plan, though, we're taking out $50,000 a year, $200,000 in loans, but that $200,000, this is accumulation, by the way, that $200,000 is still in our account. You'll notice 339 minus 50 equals 364. No, it's always increasing. Just because you take a loan out over here, it's not coming out of your accumulation account. So that $200,000 that would have otherwise been gone is now earning interest for you for the rest of your life, and it allows mom to take a really nice distribution for her own retirement. So it's a nice way to kind of couple those two concerns together and solve a couple problems for you, and there's no other vehicle that's going to do that. I'm thinking here if I want to show anything else. Well, let me show you the report so that you have it. If you actually want to save the report, you'll go here. You can edit your information up at the top right. You're always going to have nearly all of these boxes checked, really. If you uncheck one of them, it's going to stamp sample across the front, and you don't want that. So what I always like to do is I'll add in the historical results of the index that you're choosing. So let's say you're using the blended index. It'll show you how that index has performed each of the last 25 years. That's a really nice piece. It shows all the zeros and all the 16s and everything in between. So that's just a nice point of reference for you. And then you can take off the input summary page. That is one that you can leave unchecked, and you don't have to worry about a nasty, sample watermark across the front. And I guess I'll just try and create one so that you can see it. And I'll highlight that historical results page because it is fairly unique. And yes, sometimes it can take a while. Anything else that we should go through, Greg, while I'm waiting for this?
No, I think, again, there's a few good scenarios and whatnot. Like we talked about at the top of the call. I know that probably showed you a few different things, and it may not all stick, but at least you kind of know where to go and whatnot, and what, for sure. Maybe for some of you it was review, some of it was new, but you definitely, for those of you that maybe it was new, what questions to ask us and whatnot when you're trying to do some design work. So.
And what I would add too is, if you guys need help and we need to walk through this one-on-one a few times, we're all fine doing that. Once you get comfortable with the software, it will become second nature. You'll know exactly where to go. It becomes very easy, but it does take maybe 2 or 3 scenarios to get comfortable. But here's what the illustration is going to look like, and I'll just point out this historical results. This is a nice page. You have to add it, so don't forget to add it. It won't come standard. But again, it shows you all the years that it caps out, all the years that it hits the floor, and everything in between. I like to go to 2008. What happened in 2008? Negative 38%. There's your 0. 0 is better than negative 38. 2009, you captured all the rebound. That's a nice story to be able to tell, but you have to remember to add this page when you do it from that reports page. So that's about all I got, Greg.
Perfect. Well, thanks a lot, Matt. And like I said, we're going to try to keep it to about 45 minutes. There was a couple of questions that came through. One of them I got from a few people was just about if it was going to be recorded, which I did record it. So I will send that link to everybody, too. So if you want to go back and review anything, we will get that. Lastly, when I sent the email out on this webinar for last week, I mentioned we're going to do a call next Tuesday, which would be November the 18th, I believe, yes. That'll be at 3 o'clock Eastern. We'll have John Solomon back with us on that one, and we're going to talk about really comparing these IUL products. Like as Matt alluded to, when I was looking at the North American versus when he looked at the Allianz, North American has a 75 basis point kicker that is there in year 11. Allianz doesn't have one. So it's very important that we look at when we're actually comparing IULs, and everyone says apples to apples. So if you call a GA that you're working with or worked with in the past, and you say, run me Minnesota, Allianz, F&G, and run them all at 7.5%. Well, they're all illustrating at different rates. They all have different caps. The loan rates are different. So how do you really compare all those, right? What we're going to do next week is we're really going to delve into that and make sure that everyone understands how to really look at those products on the same playing field. So I will get that link out to everybody probably by tomorrow morning so you guys can get signed up for that one. So with that being said, if there's no other questions, I just want to thank everyone for their time today. And for those of you that have started to give us the opportunity to work with you, we appreciate that. And again, as Matt had said, if anyone wants any in-depth, more one-on-one stuff or going over anything, please reach out to us, and have a wonderful day, everyone. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.